back to Nairobi, where we want to take you to all the African conference churches in Westlands here in Nairobi, where the Kenya Fight Inequality Alliance and Oxfam are briefing the media on how social movements are coming together to win the fight against extreme inequality. Let's listen live.
So let me just say one quick thing and then ask Jovan, ask Gerry from Beautiful Minds, and Charles is here from Dandora Hip Hop City to say that the Fight Inequality Alliance is a very broad alliance. It does include development partners, international NGOs, but also community groups, because we realize it's only together that we can win this fight. We need the international NGOs to actually put the context. So when we talk about poverty in Kenya, you will, as journalists, ask us, where is the proof? So we have here a quote about how many Kenyans, how many rich Kenyans, and where the research comes from. So we need each other. We need each other. And I think, in fact, I would argue that the development partners and the international NGOs are coming to the game late. They get the profile, but people have been organizing. I mean, when you go to Dandora, you might miss it all because you see the garbage and you smell the garbage. But if you look and listen carefully, you get to see the youth who are organizing, the women who are organizing, the peace groups that are organizing. So I want to ask Jovan and Gerry and Charles to actually come up and just talk a little bit about, quickly, because we need to wrap this up, talk about what they are doing, because they are neither development partners or international NGOs. Charles. But I also want to actually invite Fred from Greenpeace, and there is also here from Polycom in Kibera, to talk about why they are part of this. Why would an international NGO be part of the Fight Inequality Alliance? So come on, guys. Come on. Lea, come on. Yeah, we are not, yeah, sit down.
My name is Jovan Fula. I'm a poet and a rapper working with the Justice Centers Working Group. And it is key that we are all here to fight inequalities of different kinds. I personally, my key area is the extrajudicial killings, where we've been focusing on the lapse in the judicial system, in the way the police are working. Because as we've seen in this country, there are so many people that have looted public funds and they are walking scot-free, while in the other hand, youths are being killed every day. So we've been organizing communities around arts. Just the other day, we did Sheng Circle, where we brought artists and sportsmen of Dandora to come together and just voice out in ways that we know better, people can relate to, graffiti, street arts, fashion show, so that we talk and organize organically. We've waited for so long for our leaders to come forth and do what is right, but it's not coming. So it's high time that we stand together with those who feel and also see that we have problems that need to be sorted. And as a member of the Fight Inequality Alliance, coming from Dandora and bringing so many informal settlements together, we know that the time is here. And of course, change is going to come. We are working on pieces, songs, rap music, dances that will depict the real issues that we are facing, so that for real we can talk about these issues in a way that all can understand.
My name is Lea Adhiambo from Polycom Development Organization. We work with adolescent girls and women, and in my area of work, the inequalities that I see is about education, because you realize the government is supporting the governmental schools, primary schools. You see, like the adolescent girls, they get the sanitary towels, and then when you come on the other side of the private schools, the girls are not involved in the program. Then my question normally is like, why? Because both these parents and all these people, we are all paying the tax. And these private schools are like also options for for schools for our countries and for our kids, because in an area where I come from, it's an informal settlements, and we only have like not more than 6 primary governmental schools, and the population is so big. So our grievance is always to see a better equality in terms of programs like such, and also in state schools, you realize the fees are, the government is paying part of fees to these kids, and in only governmental schools, but in private the same. So you realize that these kids, they also need the education. So for me, as a sexual reproductive health ambassador, in education, something should be done better. We need all our kids to get education and all programs equally, because by the end of the day, we pay the same tax. Thank you.
And then we'll hear from Fred about why a global organization can and should be part of it.
Thank you very much. I'm Gerry Njoroge, representing Beautiful Minds organization, which pushes for mental health. And I like your question about what are we doing as CSOs in mobilizing and taking the conversation forward. 10 years ago, you wouldn't hear much talk about mental health and the inequality. So mothers who have children with autism or children who have intellectual disabilities are therefore talking and have that voice and saying that the budget in Kenya is only 0.01%, and you can hear from the people who are really suffering from mental health conditions voicing out and saying, and that is what we're talking about, community mobilizing. Watu wanajitokeza na kusema, I am living with depression and mostly affecting the larger percentage of youth who have unemployment issues. The environments where they live, there's no water. They're in urban areas where insecurity, as Jovan has said, the extrajudicial killings, the stress levels are really rising. And by 2020, the burden of mental health will really rise to 15%. So we are mobilizing. You are hearing the voices of the common mwananchi, the common person who wouldn't even dare to talk about an issue that is so stigmatizing, like mental health issues, yes? So we are moving to, apart from even Nairobi, the people who came for the auditions, talking about mental health, poetry, So we are moving that conversation from the people, down from the grassroots to the leaders, and that is what fighting inequality is all about.
Thank you. So Fred is from Greenpeace Africa. To perhaps say where an environmental organization, a global organization, a continental organization